Hey everyone, my name is Christopher. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's your channel. All right, so my name's Chris, and that's Christopher. And my name is Christopher. Don't worry about him. In today's video, we're going to show you the right way to start recording music. Oh yeah, right. What? It's just that you make it sound like there's a right or wrong way to record music. When music is art, it's expression. There's not a right or wrong way. I mean, you know, tone is in the fingertips, that kind of thing. I'll tell you what, why don't we let the viewer decide? Decide what? Just a friendly competition where we let the viewer decide who made the better sounding song. Now, obviously we record the same song. You use your setup, I'll use my setup, and the song will be the YouTube song. Classic. So it sounds fun to me. We both use our setups, yours being more budget friendly. Mine's gonna be quite extravagant, bougie, and awesome. Yours will be adequate, I guess. I think the word you're searching for is awesome. Don't be hating on my budget studio. It's no hate, but honestly, how do you even plan on recording music with that setup? I have things. Well, let's see what you got. Chris, you're forgetting the most important thing here. Ah, yes, before we go any further, viewer, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and watch all the way to the end so you can let us know in the comment section who did a better job. All right, the first thing in my setup for the budget is I have a 2016 MacBook Pro. Now this one is a low spec. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes on an SSD. It's got 4 USB-C ports or Thunderbolt ports. I don't need to be using all of them, but for me, like recording music on a budget, this thing is plenty good. And you can get these refurbished for a great price. So after my laptop, I'm using GarageBand, which is a free software that you can download. If you have a MacBook, this thing comes standard. So check out GarageBand. Just go to the App Store, type in GarageBand. You'll be able to record music on your computer for free. It's pretty cool, I guess. Do you have any microphones or gear that you're using? I have the only microphone you ever need to record music, and especially if you're on a budget, it is the SM57 from Shure. This thing, you can get it used for like 60 bucks maybe, but you know, even brand new, it's not that bad. And it can record everything. I literally record vocals, acoustic guitars, drums, anything you need. If you can't record it with an SM57, then you must be doing it wrong. Well, hold on a second. Wouldn't it be cheapest if you just use the built-in microphone on your laptop? Well, you can use the built-in microphone on your laptop, but it really doesn't sound great. And if you're getting into recording, even on a budget, you're gonna have to spend some sort of money if you wanna have like a pro sounding recording, of course. I mean, let's face it, I'm on a budget here. This is not exactly an apocalyptic desert situation where I don't have anything to record with. You can spend relatively a small amount of money and you got your budget set up. The last piece, and super crucial for having good recordings even on a budget, is called an audio interface. An audio interface is basically a converter. You're gonna be able to take signals that you get from recording with a microphone. It's going into the box on the front panel, and on the back you have a USB cable that goes to your computer. This one is super affordable, and if you're just recording like singing, songwriting, basic instrument stuff, you'll be fine with a 2-channel audio interface. Did you mention your headphones? Yes, I do have headphones. These are in-ear monitors from Shure, and these are single drivers. These are super affordable. They're not the greatest thing in the world for long-term use, but especially if you play live music, having a pair of in-ear monitors is great. All right, Mr. Bougie, what is your setup? All right, for my bougie setup, my MacBook is one of the new M3 Pro MacBooks. It's got 18 gigabytes of RAM, a 500 gigabyte SSD. It's got a 12-core CPU and an 18-core GPU. It has many different ports, HDMI, SD card, USB-C or Thunderbolt ports, and a dedicated power supply port. Sounds kind of expensive. My audio interface for this bougie setup is the Universal Audio Apollo Twin Duo. Basically, this has 2 preamps, just like that rinky-dink audio box over there. But as you'll see, we'll be able to use a lot of fancy plugins and things to make it sound even better. I did have to spend some money extra on that. Looks kind of expensive to me. And for my microphone, as you'll see in a minute, I'll be recording with the Neumann TLM 103. This is a large diaphragm condenser microphone. And to me, if you're recording and you're not using a Neumann, you are missing out on some silky smoothness. And for headphones, I'm using these closed back Beyer Dynamic DT770 Pros. These are great for tracking, and if you need to use them for mixing as well, they'll be just fine. Well, can we get started now? We'll get started right after Me first! Sure, go ahead. I guess I'll just watch. All right, first things first, I want to record this acoustic guitar. I've got the SM57 pointed right at where the neck meets the body. And I'm going into channel 1 of this PreSonus Audio Box 96. I do have the gain cranked up quite a bit, which might be a problem. And the mixer knob on this interface is all the way on playback because I'm using the software monitoring on GarageBand. There's not too much of a delay, but I should be able to hear everything I'm doing. I've got a session pulled up, brand new session. I've got the click track set to 92 beats per minute. Now let's record some acoustic. Got new audio track selected. Next, I want to record a vocal. All right, I don't have a fancy reflection filter, but I do have this really big pillow, and I'm gonna try to create basically a halo. If you can imagine it like this, I'm gonna go around the microphone as I record my vocals. So it creates like a little bit of a booth. If you're on a budget, use a pillow. So let's record some vocals.
Have yet to hit that button called subscribe. But if you don't mind me asking, I'd like to take a chance to see if you would kindly oblige.
Okay, so that's all as far as the like audible instruments. Everything else is gonna be happening in the box. So let's grab the bass guitar. All right, now I'm ready to record some bass. Here we go. Before we go any further, I want to add some drums to this, and GarageBand's got something that's pretty spectacular. I want to add what they call a drummer track, okay? So new track, we'll add the drummer. And the cool thing about this, it's almost like AI, but basically they already have these MIDI samples already loaded, and all you have to do is like decide how aggressive you want the drummer to be, and it'll basically just play it for you. So I'm gonna take this whole thing, I'm gonna stretch it out over the course of the song. Let's see what it comes up with. All right, one more track to add. So electric guitar, can you pass me the Strat, please? Oh, thanks. All right, so again, I got my electric guitar going into my tuner pedal, and then from my tuner pedal, I've got it going into this Universal Audio. It's basically like a deluxe reverb emulator. Let's just add some electric, and that should do it. All right, GarageBand is crazy, straightforward, simple. In fact, I would say it's so simple that if you're coming from a DAW like Studio One or Logic, I mean, for some reason, if you end up on GarageBand, very minimal and it's very different. So navigating, everything's been simplified to a point that it might be kind of frustrating. But when it comes to mixing, basically I've got all my tracks labeled, and what I need to do is come up here to where it has this knob. And what we can do is affect some of these plugins. Now, every time you add an audio track, it defaults to having the built-in compressor and EQ on each channel. The EQ is, I'm gonna be using the stock version of all these things, so I can do some basic roll-off, same kind of things you would see in like Logic's EQ, but everything's very simple. So I'm just gonna use some stock plugins just to add a little bit of presence, maybe some reverb to some of these tracks. I'm just gonna put a limiter on it at the end of it. Once I get everything pretty much mixed how I want it, I'm just gonna limit it together because that's all music really needs to have. So this is the simple setup.
It's 96% of those that watch my videos have yet to hit that button called subscribe. But if you don't mind...
All right, so everything's done here on GarageBand. It's gonna be time to listen to the track, but not until first Chris gives it a go. Why don't you show us how you're going to record it with your expensive or bougie setup? Go ahead. Hey, good job with your budget setup. Let's get to the more expensive stuff. So again, my setup, I've got this Universal Audio Apollo Twin Duo. That's my audio interface. Channel 2 right now is this SM7B, but we're going to be plugging in for recording's sake this Neumann TLM 103, which I have just behind me. Here on the screen, you can see PreSonus Studio One. This is the welcome page. I'm going to start a new song. I'm going to call it the YouTube song. I know that it is 92 beats per minute. It is not 5 hours long. Home screen of PreSonus Studio One, and what's different about Studio One is we actually have like a mix window. So if I add a track here, let's start with acoustic guitar. We're gonna go with channel 1 of my interface. Now I've got faders I can move around, and with PreSonus Studio One, I have access to buses and effects channels that GarageBand is a lot more limited. So we'll make use of that. So channel 1 is gonna be my TLM 103. I can arm that for recording. And you'll like this one, Christopher, but I have this halo reflection filter. So if you don't have acoustic treatment in your room, obviously the best thing to do is to put up acoustic treatment. But this reflection filter has done quite the job. I've lived in apartments and houses over the years that did not have the best sounding rooms. This thing will not take away all of the reflections, but check out a video on my channel where I actually cover the reflection filter. I take it out to my untreated garage and use this thing. It helps out quite a bit. Isolates the sound. And of course, we have a pop filter in front of the Neumann TLM 103. So right now, channel 1 is emulating what a Neve 1073 would sound like if I had one that I was plugged into. And then everything I do on this preamp is going to be recorded onto the actual track. So that's also pretty cool. I can put this LA2A Legacy plugin. Hey, do you mind passing me that acoustic guitar real quick? Okay, so now it's time to record some acoustic guitar. I will have to stand up because if you are using this reflection filter with the Neumann mic mounted on it, you're not going to get it below waist height. So I'll stand up and record some acoustic guitar. All right, that's all for the acoustic guitar. So you want this one back? Okay, here you go. All right, let's record some vocals. One of the things I want to do that is pretty unique with Universal Audio is I want to actually record with Auto-Tune engaged. So let's pull up Auto-Tune here.
You probably didn't notice. At 8 a.m. today, I published yet another video.
Not too bad. Let's record some bass guitar. It's going to go into channel 1 of my Apollo interface. All right, that is the bass guitar. Now I'll swap out with the electric guitar. Can we swap these real quick? Okay. All right, electric guitar is at the same settings it was before, but I'm still running through this LA2A in the Neve preamp. Here we go. Let's record. All right, now the last thing we have left before just like mixing this thing up is adding drums. And the way that I want to add drums is through a program called Superior Drummer. Now they also have a more affordable version. If you're kind of into the budget thing, you want to go with Easy Drummer. That's fine as well. So I'm going to Tune Track, Superior Drummer 3. I'll drag and drop this on here. And what it does is, I'm not get too complicated with this one, but I basically want to load a preset of a drum kit that I like the sound of. And then I'm going to go to their MIDI. Basically, it's like their grooves section, and you can obviously play these different drum grooves. You can pick what sort of style. So it's kind of similar to what GarageBand has got. You do have to be a little bit more meticulous though. And they've got settings where you can just tap in what you're looking for. But let's find something in Superior Drummer that sounds good, and then I'll just drag and drop it on. So again, this is still MIDI sample-based drum sets here. Okay, now I'm exporting the song in PreSonus Studio One. Of course, you can get way more advanced, but I think I've shown quite enough that if we're recording this simple song, I think my setup had some really good strong points. You know, I'm pretty shocked that with GarageBand, I think if you're a beginner, I mean, especially since it's free, being able to record something simple like this, like if you just have like acoustic guitar and vocal, I don't think you can go wrong with GarageBand, even though it was missing a lot of the features that I used in PreSonus Studio One. Well, for my side of it, I really like the drummer that you get on GarageBand, especially since this thing is free. I mean, you spent quite a penny on Superior Drummer, and I know it's got fancy features. We can swap out the samples, but for me, just opening up GarageBand, being able to get a drum beat that sounds great already, I think that's kind of a win. Your audio interface is super fancy, like being able to use the plugins that make it sound like you've got even more expensive gear. I don't know if it's worth it for my setup, but I like that you could use like an EQ or compressor as you're recording. And then auto-tune, yeah, that has me beat, but that's also pretty expensive. So I guess if I were a better singer, I could just sing on pitch. It's great being able to record with the plugins, but when we're comparing the prices, this is pretty insane. Well, who do you think won? Well, I'd say that we both won. Because the cool thing is, like with modern recording, whether you're on a budget or if you feel like spending a lot of money on microphones, you're going to get great results either way. And if you learn how to use your gear, even on a budget, you can get better results than if you're using expensive gear and don't know how to use it. But as far as who won this competition, I guess we're going to have to leave it up to the viewers. Maybe in the comments section, let us know what you think. Absolutely. And I want to say that if you're interested in recording music and some of this stuff went over your head, I've got many videos here on my channel where you can check up how to record your first song and how to get up and running with something like PreSonus Studio One. As the next two songs play back and forth, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about the mix that was achieved with the budget setup? What do you think about the mix that was achieved with the bougie setup? And kind of what are your interests? Are you looking at going a more budget-friendly route with something like GarageBand and a 2-channel USB interface? Or are you interested in more of the high-value stuff out there? Do you think it's worth it? Let us know in the comment section. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care out there.
You probably didn't notice at 8 a.m. today I published yet another video. You probably scrolled right past it, so I thought that I might ask that you go back and give it a try. 'Cause 96% of those that watch my videos have yet to hit that button called subscribe. But if you don't mind me asking, I'd like to take a chance to see if you would kindly oblige. Hit subscribe and maybe like, so this video can have a chance in the algorithm stance. Hit subscribe. Hit subscribe. You probably didn't notice at 8 a.m. today I published yet another video. You probably scrolled right past it, so I thought that I might ask that you go back and give it a try. 'Cause 96% of those that watch my videos have yet to hit that button